Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with another Madden 21 first take, year 3, week 1 overview, as we like to go around the league, see what's happening. This week we're doing the power rankings, official release, and we're going to have some, Super Bowl predictions and playoff predictions. Let's get right into it. And your last team, number 16, is the 49ers. Head coached is Mr. Buns No Cap, and this has just been one of the worst years I've ever seen from a user in this league. I think Southside, historically he's been ranked the worst player to ever be in the league. I think he has never had a season this bad. Jimmy Garoppolo, in 7 games, has managed to throw 23 interceptions. He about to hit Jameis Winston's mark of 30 interceptions by week 9. The fuck is he doing in the game? Get him out of here. That's my first move. I'm the 49ers. He's getting benched. I don't care if we got Stevie Wonder behind him. He's got to be better than this guy. He lost to the Buccaneers, lost to the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Chargers this season. Hasn't been able to be the user. It's a shame because last year when he first joined the league, a lot of people thought, he had some upset potential. But he's just been terrible so far this year. And he better thank the Lord that he's in the NFC. So that all he has to do to compete, to make the playoffs, is beat a couple computers. Because if he was in the AFC, I don't think this team would get 4 wins. Moving on, we have the brand new Browns, who already come in at number 15. This is head coached by Big White's RP. In his 3 games since joining the league, he's 0-2 against the users he's played. He put up a competitive game with the Bills in the first half and then got beat pretty bad. And he lost pretty bad to the Panthers as well. I would say he could turn it around, but he's not going to. We got news that he's tanking public. He just went out and said he's tanking, which, as you do know, after the Jets went out and put their performance in the first year, he outlawed that. So we'll have to see as a league how he gets punished there. And talking about that, I heard Baker Mayfield is potentially on the block. Could be going in a new direction of quarterbacks. Apparently, the new coach hates Baker Mayfield. But it appears this is just another year in the dog pound for Browns fans. Very sorry, Browns fans, but your team just sucks. Moving on here, we have a number 14, the Texans. This is going to shock a lot of people because they are 4-2 this season, 2-1 the last 3 games. But look, they've played 2 users this year. They lost to the Steelers, who, I'm sorry to break it to you, Steelers aren't that great of a team, and the Jaguars, who just joined the league. This dude got Gardner Minshew out here looking like Tom Brady against the Texans defense. And, the reason he's 4-2, honestly, is because he's had a weak schedule. And he's been stat padding against the computers. We do know that he got fined pretty hefty. I think he got a 4th-round pick taken from him due to having 500 receiving yards in the game. Just completely egregious. This year their turnover differential is -10. That's really what holding them back. He's right behind the 49ers in that regard. But we do know this team, if they can make the playoffs, they will be dangerous. They upset the Patriots last year. We could see some more upsets. They also upset the Bills in a very controversial a win. But that's all I have to say about the Texans. Moving on here, we have the Jets. The Jets this season, they've just had a lot of bad luck. And they're in the toughest division in the NFL. They've already lost their first 3 divisional games. So that makes them 0-3 versus users this year, which was the Patriots, and Bills. But, the back end of the schedule is looking really easy. So as long as they can, keep competing, they'll have a chance to make the playoffs, but it's going to be very difficult. Overall, Trevor Lawrence, I'm looking at him. He's really got to clean up his decision-making in the late games. Makes a lot of bad decisions in the fourth quarter. But, he's only a second-year player. We expect him to develop more. And, I think this team, they could be in the playoff hunt. Oh, no. Moving on here, we have the Steelers. Speaking about them earlier, they are head coached by Mr. True Skinny. And we did say their only win this year was to the Texans, we talked about earlier. However, they've also lost to the Panthers, Bills, and Patriots. They're 3 good teams. 3 games you expect them to lose. So, mediocre teams going to give you the mediocre results. Russell Wilson, he hasn't had a good game since he arrived in Pittsburgh. If I was him, I'd hang him up now. Go ahead and let Mason Randolph get a few touches out there because he ain't helping. This is a team that, if they weren't in such an easy division, it's just them and the Browns are already 2-5. So if the Browns decide to tank, the Steelers have this division wide open. But they have a very tough schedule in the next 8 games here. They have to play the Browns twice, the Buccaneers, Chiefs, and the Jets. So that's, what is that, 5 users? We could very likely see a CPU coming out of the AFC North. Moving on here, number 11, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, head coach by Mr. Amsquali. And, he only played one user so far this year. That was the Cardinals. And I can't really rank this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he was good. He's been pretty good previous years. He made the championship game, the AFC last season. But when you got a cupcake schedule, who's gonna who's gonna rank you high? You know what I'm saying? They're basically a UCF. And my prediction for this team is that they're gonna be the champion of the Weenie Hut Junior League, because they can't get no damn competition. Moving on here, we have the 5-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this is a team that's just been the symbol for success in this league. We don't talk about a team doesn't go through ups and downs, just very strong in the NFC. It's got to be Tampa Bay, But this year they took back-to-back losses. They lost to the Panthers and they lost to the Giants, pretty bad. Their only win this season came to the 49ers, which, like I said, I think a toothpick with with hands could beat that dude. I think a lot of this has to do with them trading. They traded Francois. They also traded Khalil Mack. Now, a lot of people say he won that trade, but you got to remember, Khalil Mack was a dominating presence on that D-line. And losing that, they're trying to replace it with some of their rookies, but it's definitely going to hurt them. And also, as we saw, they traded Francois. I call him Francois, but it's actually Sam Darnold. And he did get fined subsequently for, painting his face black. Disgrace in the league. I'm not sure how he didn't get kicked from the league for doing a blackface, but he gets away with it, and he's the new quarterback of the Vikings. Moving on, number 9 is the Rams. They're sitting at 5-1 record, coached by Mr. Verified Saya. He has a 1-1 record this year. He'll beat the 49ers, which everyone does, and then he lost to the Cardinals. And I think the X factor for this team is going to be their new quarterback, Spencer Rattler. He's a brand new rookie. And the team started passing the ball. Last year they only had about 1,000 passing yards all season. They already passed that mark this year. So as we see, we got an updated playbook for them where they did add the screen pass and quick slants to the playbook. I'm hoping to see maybe an out route in there eventually, but right now this is all they've gotten. And let's go on to the Chargers, head coached by Mr. McWetball. He also beat the 49ers, so who cares? However, I just think this guy's a little too reliant on the run game, And when I say a little, I mean a lot. He's way too fucking reliant on the run game. The only game he played the 49ers, and the dude had 49. He only had 70 passing yards. So that says a lot. You see his HB dive here. That's the only play he's ever ran before, I think. So maybe HB stretch, but that's on occasion. And that's just not going to work against these top teams. When you go up against Buffalo, you go up against the Patriots, even the Cardinals. I mean, you can't do that and expect to win the game. So I'm going to keep them ranked at 8, even though they have an undefeated record so far against users. And moving on, we got a brand new user, or coming back user, actually. He did leave in year 1. Mr. Bonica Series taking over the Jaguars. And he already came off to a hot start. He played against the Texans, and he beat them. Texans are not a pushover. They were ranked very low this week. That team is, they're pretty much always in the they're always in the race over there in the AFC. We talk about them playing the Bills and the Patriots. So that's a pretty big win for them, especially off the first week because, they have Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and that was enough to beat Justin Fields and company. So this Jaguars team, they could be making some noise in the playoffs. Moving on to number 6, we have the New York Giants. The New York Giants, they're the wild card here. They lost to the Buccaneers in the divisional round. As we see, this Daniel Jones fell over. That was right before the game. And a lot of people are saying that's the reason that the Giants lost. But they're bouncing back strong. They did beat Tampa Bay by a whole lot in Tampa. Now, that's very important because, Tampa Bay, very big home field advantage there, and they lost. So that means a lot. They also did lose to the Packers. And the Packers are the only D-line user in the league, and he managed to lose to them. No disrespect to the Packers, but they are a D-line user. If you're a top team, you cannot be losing to D-line users. I don't see this happening again. I think it just might have caught him off guard. And I think this team, they can go places, but they got to figure out who their starting quarterback is. You can't put Daniel Jones in for a snap and then put in Tim Tebow. You got to pick one. It's trade deadline right now. I'd recommend trading one of those quarterbacks if I was the Giants. Moving on, talking about the Packers, they are head coached by Mr. Clatch M. He's 1-1 this season. He did beat the Giants, but he lost to the Cardinals. And the big thing about this team is that they're a D-line user, which you can only get so far doing that. I cannot see a team winning a Super Bowl as a D-line user. As we see, the Packers, he wakes up every morning, prays to Kenny Clark, just because that's the only man that's doing him anything. Because if he had any other D-line user, any other D-line player he was using, he'd get killed by 40. This Kenny Clark saves him, I'm not going to lie. But he's also a very talented offensive player. Aaron Rodgers is leading the MVP race at the age of 38. And that's something not many people can do. So this team's a wild card, but I don't see them really making a push for a Super Bowl or anything of value. Moving on here, we have the number 4 ranked Patriots. They are 5-1. And as we do know, they lost to the Bills week 1 pretty bad. 59-0 was the route. Bills are known to do that. When they start pouring on an avalanche, it starts coming. As we know, they beat the Giants by a whole lot in the Super Bowl. And they just beat the Patriots, who a lot of people thought were the Super Bowl favorites coming in this year. Beat them very easily. He did trade away Cam Newton for a 90-year-old Tom Brady in a damn wheelchair. I don't think that's the answer for them. However, ever since that loss, he has rebounded pretty well. He beat the Jets twice and beat the Steelers. So we'll just see what happens week 15 when they rematch. We'll see if Tom Brady actually is enough to get it done. I don't think he is, but we will see. Moving on to number 3, the Carolina Panthers. Now, a lot of people did not expect this team to be here. I didn't expect this team to be here. They're undefeated, and they've beaten some quality competition. They beat the Buccaneers, which, it's reigning Super Bowl champions. Despite the fact they don't have a starting quarterback yet, they still beat them. They beat the Cleveland Browns, which a lot of people thought were going to make some noise during the league late. And they beat the Steelers, which is always nice. And for this team is Christian McCaffrey. That is all you can say about them. Christian McCaffrey gets the ball, he runs the ball, he rushes the ball. He probably passes it too. So as long as Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, I can see this team making a little bit of noise. Because we do know the quarterback, Sam Howell, did lose to Florida State. And that is just terrible. How are you going to be the number 5 ranked team, be the quarterback, and lose to Florida State? I'm not quite sure. That's why I wouldn't have drafted him personally. I think that's why he fell to 5th in the draft. Definitely because of this loss. So we'll see what that team can do with that shitty-ass quarterback on the sideline, Sam Howell. Going in the number 2, we have head coach Vivid Foe and the Cardinals, a.k.a. known as GOAT. And, he's undefeated this season. Beat the Packers, beat the Chiefs, beat the Rams, and he beat the Niners. However, this guy's a regular season player. We've known him for a very long time. He's been in the league since, week 5. He is a regular season player. He does this. He gets your hopes up the regular season, and then he folds in the playoffs. So I expect the same thing. He likes to say he don't fold in the playoffs because he can make it to the conference championship. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do when you're number 1 seed. What you're supposed to do? You're supposed to win the Super Bowl. He ain't done that once. So I don't see this team. They're gonna get your hopes up a lot. So I wouldn't bet on this team to win a Super Bowl. And we do know they're gonna definitely send some complaints in via Shannon Sharp because they're ranked number 2. But this is exactly where they deserve to be. And your number 1 team is the Buffalo Bills, coming in at an undefeated record, 6 wins, 0 losses. They are also 4-0 against users. They have beaten the Patriots, Steelers, Browns, and Jets. And this team. They filed for a bunch of complaints after a alleged forced loss against the Texans in the playoffs. They were very upset. And the first thing they did, they picked up the phone, they traded for Jair Alexander. How are you going to beat this team? This team was already one of the greatest teams ever assembled. Right? They got Josh Allen. They got Curtis Samuel out there. They got a bunch of big names. Stephon Diggs. And now they put on Jair Alexander. So this dude's already now he's got the best secondary possibly in league history. One of the best passing attacks in league history. And I just don't see what you're going to do to beat this team. So let's, they're the easy number 1 right now. Let's go on here. This is the complete power rankings as we just listed them. And I got one more thing. We got the Super Bowl predictions. This is how I think the playoffs are going to turn out. Here they are. So I have the Jets and the Browns missing the playoffs, first off. First, let's go to the AFC. I have the Bills being the 1 seed, so they're getting a bye week. Go to number 2 seed, Chiefs, Jaguars. Jaguars do got some upset potential, but I see the Chiefs holding out and winning that game. Then we go on to the 3 versus 6 seed, Texans, Chargers. No, I got the Chargers upsetting the Texans. Because I bet you what's going to happen is the Chargers are going to have a better record than the Texans. They're going to be the better team. And even though they're the undercard, they really aren't. They're the better team. They're going to win the game. Then we have the Patriots Steelers. Another situation of that. Patriots just so happen to be in the same conference as the Bills, so they can't be the 2 seed, but they would be the 2 seed. No one else in that conference really competes with the Patriots and Bills. I see them blowing the Steelers out the water. And then we go into the next round over here. Bills Chargers. That's not a question. Bills going to win that. Patriots Chiefs. That could be very interesting because we do know that the Chiefs, they have a lot of big plays. You know, they have Tyreek Hill, and they got those guys out there just mad. They quick. And there's a chance they could upset the Patriots, but I think the Patriots will advance. And we go into the conference championship. I see the Bills winning the AFC. Now we go to the NFC. Arizona Cardinals, regular season player. He's great at being in the regular season. He's going to be number 1 seed. Number 2 seed, New York Giants take on the Niners. The Giants are going to win that game. I mean, I'd be surprised. I'm putting the Niners in there out of respect. You could very well see an AI team. You could see the Seattle Seahawks. They might be there. I don't know. But all I know is the Giants are going to advance. Then we have the number 3 seed is going to be the Panthers, my prediction, taking on the Rams. That game is kind of a toss-up, but I see the Panthers winning that one. They've been so hot this season. I think they will continue to make the divisional round. Then we have Packers-Bucks. These teams have only played one time, and I do believe the Buccaneers ended up giving them the force win after they left the game. So we have no available data on this team. What I do know is Packers are a D-line user. I don't see any good team in the playoffs losing to a D-line user. That's all I got to say on that. Then we move on. Giants-Panthers. Giants taking that one home. Giants, you know, they lost to the Buccaneers last year. They got a chip on their shoulder as well. We talk about the Bills chip. Giants got a bigger one. They had they had an upset loss to Tampa Bay, and I think they're definitely going to want to win. And we're talking about Cardinals-Buccaneers. Buccaneers own this matchup. They have never lost to GOAT, and I don't think they ever will. So I'm taking the Buccaneers. Now we move on. This is a very big game. Bucks-Giants. Last year, we saw the Buccaneers win very closely. It was a very close game. The Buccaneers edged it out. Now, without Khalil Mack, they don't have Jordan Travis. I see the Giants winning that game. And then we go on to the Super Bowl. Bills-Giants. And everyone's going to make fun of this, saying, yeah, we saw the Bills. They beat them by 40, whatever. We saw that year 1. This is a new Giants team. It's also a new Bills team. So you can't expect the same result. My prediction is the Buffalo Bills will be the Super Bowl champions, but it's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be back and forth. I don't know who's going to win that. That's the closest game in the entire playoffs. I think that's going to be one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. And that's all I got to say on this week of First Take.